From a civilization building standpoint, the United States' geography is unmatched by any other place on the globe. The first reason for this is the Mississippi River. The river begins in Minnesota and runs south all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. On the way, many other rivers feed into it, like the Arkansas, Ohio, and Missouri rivers. These combine to create 1.2 million square miles of watershed, or about 40% of the continental United States. The vast majority of the river basin is calm and wide, making the Mississippi the longest navigable river system in the world. Rivers are uniquely powerful as transportation for goods, as they don't require maintenance and construction like roads do. This all means that transportation of goods by river is 10 to 30 times cheaper than by land. This is huge because farms along rivers like the Mississippi can cheaply export their crops, and since the river is navigable all the way to the ocean, it essentially makes ocean ports out of the cities that connect to it, of which there are hundreds. Just some of the notable ones include New Orleans, Memphis, St. Louis, Minneapolis, Kansas City, Denver, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. The Great Lakes system is also a useful waterway that reaches all the way out to the Atlantic Ocean thanks to the man-made canals connecting them. This adds cities like Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, and Buffalo all to this cheap and expansive transportation network. Another one of the United States' geographical fortunes is the layer of barrier islands that lie on the eastern side. Around 3/4 of the east and Gulf coasts are sheltered by small islands, without which the coasts would have violent waters crashing into them, making it difficult for boats to travel and make port. These islands take the impact from the ocean, creating a calm buffer zone between them and the coast, which cargo ships can easily traverse. This essentially extends the already broad reach of the Mississippi out to the economic powerhouse that is the United States East Coast. Now, all of what I just said alone would be enough to give the US a significant advantage compared to other countries. But there's one more thing that elevates it above just being cheap transport. The Mississippi Basin covers nearly all of the American Midwest, which is the largest contiguous stretch of arable farmland in the world. This land is ideal for farming things like wheat, corn, and soybeans, and as a result, the US produces more than 1/4 of all corn and soybeans on the planet. Due to the fortunate geography, all of these crops can be easily distributed to cities on the Mississippi River network, and then out through the Atlantic to anywhere else in the world. On paper, Brazil seems to have similarly fortunate geography. It takes up a huge part of its respective continent, coming just behind the United States in terms of countries with the most land area. It also has the Amazon River, and it has lots of coastline facing Europe, North America, and Africa. But in reality, Brazil's geography has been a huge hindrance to its potential global success. Brazil's land is 60% jungle, which is expensive and in many places illegal to clear out for urbanization. Just like in the US, Brazil also has its own river systems, although these come with their own problems. The Amazon River is navigable for large ships for 930 miles to the city of Manaus. Manaus is deep inside the jungle, being the only city within an 800-mile radius with at least 1 million residents, while Manaus itself has 2 million residents and is the 7th largest city in Brazil. Manaus is unique in that there are no paved roads directly connecting it to the southern port cities like Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. These river-based cities are commonplace throughout the American Midwest, whereas Manaus is alone in Brazil, despite there being plenty of space for major cities along the river between Manaus and the coast. The reason there are none is because, unlike the Mississippi, the Amazon River's banks are muddy due to the intense rainfall, and the surrounding land is difficult to build on, rendering it useless. South of the rainforest in the savanna is where Brazil is most profitable. In his book, Prisoners of Geography, Tim Marshall explains that 25 years ago, this area was considered unfit for agriculture, but Brazilian technology has turned it into one of the world's largest producers of soybeans. However, another geographical misfortune, the Grand Escarpment, greatly inhibits the potential for this region. All the way from Salvador to Porto Alegre, steep cliffs rise up just behind the coasts, creating separation between the cities and the high plateau inland. These jungled mountains separate Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, and all the other coastal cities from one another, inhibiting profitable trade and political unification. Brazil also does not have direct access to the Rio de la Plata region, since the rivers empty into the sea between Uruguay and Argentina. This leads merchants to bring their goods down to Buenos Aires, as the escarpment blocks them from Brazil's coastal cities. Due to this, Brazil's 7 largest ports combined could not handle as many goods in a year as New Orleans. Therefore, Brazil's goods are shipped by road, which is much more expensive than water by default, but is made worse by the lack of pavement as well as treacherous terrain. All of this drives costs up for Brazil and profits down, which over hundreds of years has prevented it from becoming a global superpower and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future.